So quickly I'll get those back down. So points 1, 2, insert, clip C, point 1, point 2 and 3, overwrite, and then quickly place the playhead between the two clips, get clip B, isolate a portion, points 1, 2, going to be inserted between A and B and C. So now we have 3 clips in the timeline. We can start looking at how we can manipulate these and play around with them. Now, first thing I'm going to do is a basic trim. Now, a trim is where you're shortening a clip by dragging the end of that clip in. Now, when you hover over the end of a clip and approach the edit point between 2 clips, you'll see a little red square bracket and an arrow. And what that allows you to do is click and drag the clip in, and what you're doing is you're trimming the end of a clip. Okay. Now what you'll notice there is that by doing a straightforward trim, I'm left with black. Okay. Now if you're left with black or a hole in your edit in between clips, you can do what's called a ripple delete. And a ripple delete allows you to select the gap between 2 clips as if it were an object and hit shift and backspace, or shift and delete rather. So shift and delete actually deletes the gap, and it sounds a little bit odd that you'd be deleting what isn't there, but if you think of even a gap in an edit as an object that can be selected, then you know that you can do what's called a ripple delete. A ripple delete also works on clips. So if I was to select clip B, for example, and hit shift delete, it will delete B and it will ripple the timeline down to fill that space. So I'll undo that now. Okay, so what I was doing was trimming. Now trimming is a non-ripple delete or ripple edit, so it leaves a gap. It doesn't move anything on the timeline. Now if on the other hand you let's see now, hover over the end of the clip just as you did previously and hold down Command, you'll see that the little icon turns yellow. Now when that icon turns yellow, when you hold down Command, it's going to do a similar operation to a trim. It's going to shorten the clip by dragging the end of that clip in, but when you let go of the mouse, you'll see that it actually pulls all the other clips down with it. So I can shorten a clip and not leave a hole in the timeline or ripple the timeline to follow that trim edit by holding down the shift or the command key, and the command key modifies the trim and turns it into what's called a ripple edit. Okay. Now with the trim edit you can shorten. With the ripple edit you can shorten or lengthen. So I can do a kind of reverse trim if you want. With the ripple I can push it out so that the clip gets longer, and when I let go of it, all the other clips on the timeline get pushed up because it's a ripple edit. Okay, so just to summarize, if I just hover over the end of a clip, close to but not exactly on the edit point, I'll see my trim, and that allows me to shorten a clip or trim it. Now if I deselect that edit point just by clicking on an empty track, and this time hovering in the same position and holding down Command, it allows me to turn that trim into a ripple, and the ripple allows me to shorten but also take everything with it as if it were stuck to the end of that clip. It allows me to lengthen but pushes everything back down the timeline to make room for that new lengthening. So the ripple and the trim look kind of the same but are quite different.